handles one aspect is strike duty. And basically, what we have here, excuse me, is that every 3 years or so, we have a contract with the unions that do the telephone repairs, and there's a potential strike. So what we do is they choose IT people or business people, bring them in a room, give you some training, and if there's a potential strike, you go up there, you fill in for the striking workers. Well, I'm here to teach you how to splice wires and repair phones. Don't worry, we've got a 3-day class ahead of us, so you'll have everything you need to know to be able to go out there and take care of it. Now, I'm sure many of you probably wonder what it's like to do strike duty. I can tell you from personal experience, or at least in my opinion, it's kind of like wartime. Now, I've never been in a war. Matter of fact, I've never been in the military. But I think it probably would come close. So let me just tell you what happened to me a few years ago. It was about 20 minutes after midnight on the night that the contract was expiring. So I dialed the hotline to find out what the disposition was. I was sanguine that there wouldn't be a strike. I just knew it'd be fine. I'd wake up the next day, I'd get a good night's sleep, and business as usual, I'd just go on carrying about my way. Well, that faded fast. I was very surprised to find out that the message on the other side, in this monotone, authoritative voice, telling me, all contingent workers, please report to your assigned locations. A strike has been declared. What? A strike has been declared. Are you kidding me? Well, the next day, made it to the airport, and to carry on my war analogy, there were moms and dads hugging the families, getting ready to ship off to their location somewhere in the Northeast. It was a long trip. We got in late, but made it okay. Stayed in a nice hotel. Can't complain about that. The next day came fast. So we actually, our group, that we had to go to a certain garage, assembled at a Starbucks, so that way we could walk in force, because the union obviously would be picketing. We got a phone call approximately 20 minutes or so before we were supposed to report, telling us, go in the back way, because the picket lines are on this front street. So we all walked down, and we made a phone call about, when we were half a block away, the door opened, and we all kind of shuffled in, snuck in our covert operation. We got our assignments, got in our vehicles with our partners, and headed out into the streets. And so, first thing that happened, not a block away from the garage, we're pulling up in our truck, and this motorcycle comes in front of us. And he gets on the motorcycle. The person I was riding with was a seasoned employee. You could tell, been there like 20 years. He says, watch, he's going to stall that motorcycle. Sure enough, the guy stopped, light changes green, and he's looking at it. He can't figure, and horns are blowing behind us, New York City, these people are getting irate, the light changes about 3 more times. Finally, a cop comes over and starts talking to him. He's of course doing this number, so he pushes it aside, and we can move on finally. We then had our first repair call. And so one of the things that we do is, usually when you're out there, you've got a hard hat and a bright orange vest. Well, the trick there is to go undercover. Take your stuff and you put it in a backpack. And basically, you go to the call, and that way you just look like anybody on the street, knock on the door, and of course you throw that stuff on real quick, and at least they leave you alone on the street. So that was interesting. It turns out the person wasn't home, so we really didn't get that call taken care of. And when we got back to the truck, we had a flat tire. Okay, let's get the jack, let's get the spare, take care of this. No. Phone call to the tire repair place. And so we waited, and we waited, and we waited 2.5 hours sitting there in one spot. Finally, the guy came along, repaired our tire, so we were good there. The next step we had to make was the central office. Well, the central office, all the union workers know where those are. So trust me, you had a greeting committee. Okay? Well, we once again did the old backpack thing, and what you'd do is you'd walk up and you kind of just walk like you're going just to Starbucks or something, and once you hit the door of the CO, you make a turn to it. Well, as soon as they see you turn, scab! So obviously you get in there as quick as you can. A few other things that we did, once my day was over, they would drop me off about 3 blocks from the hotel, because what you don't want the union to know where you're staying, because of course then you end up with a picket line in front of your hotel and a welcome committee every morning. So I'd get out, of course, take the helmet off and everything, jump and blend into the New York City streets. Once again, like wartime, right? I'm going undercover. Make it to my hotel, and similar the next morning, I'd get a text page of the location for pickup, because sometimes I didn't have to go to the garage. My driver would come by, say maybe 34th and 7th, and I'd be there a few minutes before, jump in the truck, and on we go. There were rumors about the strike lasting. They talked about it possibly lasting months and months, and in the past, I think it had. But this strike, it was over in 2 weeks, and we ended up, going back home. I really didn't use a lot of my training as far as, I was trained for inside wire maintenance. I could easily do a wire drop from a rural house to a pole, and here I was going down manholes and splicing cables. So it was interesting, a week or so worth of training, and it really wasn't applicable. But at least I knew the color codes on the wires when my friend was down there. But speaking of training, as I told you before, I was here to train you, but it looks like we are out of time, or at least close. So I guess we'll have to take it on tomorrow. Thank you.